please welcome the presidents of the participating states of the 3Cs initiative and ministers to the Marmor Hall. So, dear President of the Republic of Slovenia, Your Excellency Borut Pahor, dear Presidents, heads of delegations of Bulgaria, Croatia, Czech Republic, Estonia, Poland, thank you very much for supporting the 3Cs initiative and participating at this special presidential panel entitled The EU Between the Baltic, Adriatic and Black Seas, Addressing Transition and Geopolitical Challenges. It's a great pleasure and unique experience, to be honest, to have you all here. Now it's my privilege to give the floor to the host of this year's 3C Summit, the President of the Republic of Slovenia, Mr. Borut Pahor, who will also moderate this panel. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and a privilege to welcome you, all of you, on behalf of the leaders of 3Cs Initiative. This is the fourth summit, and what a summit it is. We started with the business forum, and what a forum it is. More than 600 participants from 43 states. It is a beautiful picture. It is the picture of the future, and I would like to thank you for coming. Now, maybe in September or October, in autumn this year, the European Parliament will elect the new Commission President and the new composition of the European Commission. High expectations will be there across European Union, also among 12 member states of 3Cs Initiative. As far as the issue of infrastructure, energy, digital future, we'll have something to present to the new Commission President and the new composition of the new European Commission. We'll start with the progress report on the progress that we have done on these three issues in last year, and about our goals and perspectives of this region for the future. So it will be some sort of our common list of goals presented to the European Commission, and the Commission will be invited to take serious consideration about it. Now, I will invite everybody now for an opening statement, brief one, 3 to 5 minutes. Presidents and 2 ministers. Let me start by inviting the President of the Republic of Poland, Andrzej Duda. Andrzej, would you be so kind to come here? And I would invite you as a founding father of this very initiative. So it is my joy, pleasure, and honor to invite for the opening remarks my friend and Polish President Andrzej Duda. Please.
Dear distinguished presidents, ministers, Secretary of State, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad that today we participate in the second edition of the 3Cs Initiative Business Forum in Ljubljana. I'm grateful to the organizers of this year's 3Cs Initiative Summit, the Slovenian President, Borut Pahor, the government, and the financial institutions. I'm grateful for arranging the business component of our initiative. This is particularly significant given that modernization of Central and Eastern European markets is a process of strategic importance for our future. Ensuring sustainable economic development in our region and in Europe is a priority. Every year, we are advancing in this regard. Our economies are evolving towards the development market status. These changes are sweeping and affecting new areas of the economy and society. It's very important that in this process, the 3Cs initiative countries maintain two fundamental elements in its development: high growth rate and stability of financial institutions. With this in mind, I would like to focus today on two aspects of economic cooperation within our initiative: the challenges of the future and our responses that we are trying to formulate in the present day. Ladies and gentlemen, currently, the train journey from Tallinn to Constanta takes about 3.5 days. The same distance from Gothenburg to Barcelona is covered in 1 day by train. Whereas the same journey by road is about 8 hours shorter than it would be the case in our part of Europe. These facts have an impact not only on the comfort of travel and tourism, but also, above all, on economic and social relations. If we want to tighten and intensify them, we must have a coherent investment policy in the 3Cs region. That is, on that will overcome all transportation gaps. According to PwC data, in recent years we have spent approximately 150 billion euro from EU funds on transportation investments in our region. Estimates of spot data experts show that the demand for investments into transportation will continue on the same high level. By 2030 alone, it's expected to run into 165 billion euro for roads, 100 billion euro for railways, 13 billion euro for maritime transport, and 11 billion euro for aviation infrastructure. The situation in the energy sector is similar. Demand for investments in the gas sector by 2030 will run into 16 billion euro. We will have to spend 21 billion euro for new power transmission projects and 51 billion euro on power distribution. That stands at almost 90 billion euro in total. Even higher amounts are considered for telecommunications. We are talking about 160 billion euro for investment needs. These enormous sums show the scale of the challenges to be confronted by the 3Cs initiative region. These are challenges of a community nature. We cannot handle them acting on our own. However, we can get closer to realization through teamwork. a team playing fair and accordingly to the framework of market rules. It will always be a positive-sum game. This is the logic of the 3 Cs initiative cooperation. That is why in the next decade, not only the EU budget or public finances of individual countries will be important. Apart from structural funds, the engagement of private partners should also be visible in infrastructural investments. Here, the business offer of the 3 Cs initiative is particularly active. It combines 3 fundamental criteria of financial success: growth dynamics, security of investment, and stability of institutions. The market, which stretches between the Baltic Sea, the Adriatic, and the Black Sea, today accounts for 1.7 trillion euro of GDP. In a decade or so, it will increase to reach 2.3 trillion euro. In the meantime, it will continue to grow in size at an average rate of 2.4% of GDP per annum. This means that the share of Central and Eastern Europe in the GDP of the whole EU will increase from 10 to 13% by 2030. As you see, we are talking about a high pace of growth, the pace which already attracts many investors from the USA, Western Europe, and Asia. Today, I can say with confidence that the leaders of the 3 Cs initiative are right in interpreting these positive trends. That is why the new follow-up stage of our activity, which we are launching here in Ljubljana, is the 3 Cs Fund. Poland and Romania have inaugurated the functioning of the fund. We see it as a new source of financing for the infrastructure investments. This will be a practical dimension of the 3 Cs initiative cooperation, a tool to make our plans and dreams come true. Another practical tool we introduced at the summit in Bucharest is the progress report. The aim of this report is to monitor of economic development in our region and to provide yet additional tool for investors. Ladies and gentlemen, we take regional cooperation seriously. I know that we have the will and the ability to make sure that the fruits of the 3 Cs initiative result in the form of new roads, railways, bridges, and air connections. We want to measure the effects of the 3 Cs initiative not by a number of meetings and signed declarations, but in kilometers of new roads, modernized gas pipelines, or in the sums spent on urgent investments. Playing as a team, we move from analysis to action and implementation of the goal we have jointly charted out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andrzej. So the next speaker is Madam Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović, the President of the Republic of Croatia, very good friend of mine. And you allowed me before to say that if Andrzej is founding father, you're a founding mother of this initiative. So you have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Borut, for this kind introduction. And first of all, dear Mr. President of Slovenia, dear Borut, esteemed presidents, dear colleagues, Mr. U.S. Secretary of Energy, dear participants of the 3 Cs Business Forum, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon or good evening to you all. It is a special pleasure to be here tonight. And on behalf of us all, so that we don't repeat ourselves, I would like to thank our dear friend Borut and the Republic of Slovenia, the government of Slovenia, the Foreign Ministry, and the Chamber of the Economy for organizing the Three Seas Initiative meeting, the summit tomorrow, and the business forum today. And as Borut said, what a meeting it is, what a summit it is. We have grown from an exploratory meeting back in 2015 in New York when Andrzej and myself called the colleagues from the 12 or the other 10 EU member states in Central Europe in order to discuss the issues that we thought were very important for completing the unification, the true unification of the European Union. And then we had the first summit in 2015 in Dubrovnik, then in Bucharest, in Warsaw 2017, and in Bucharest 2018. And the initiative has grown up to the fact that today we are, after the initial exploration in Bucharest last year, we are forming the fund of the initiative, which means that it has become a true practical initiative. This is a platform for specific cooperation. We don't have a seat, we don't have secretariat, we don't waste money on business space and resources. What we do is we communicate together and we use the modern ways of communication in order to keep initiative growing, and I think that so far, as we can see today in Slovenia, we've been very successful. So when we started the initiative, the idea was to erase the differences between what is still called the East and the West of Europe, or the new and the old Europe. Unfortunately, this continental divide, as we, in order to use a geographic term, still exists not only when you travel to our countries and when you look at our infrastructure, but also, I would say, in the minds of people. So what this initiative is primarily aimed at is true cohesion. True cohesion not only of the space of the 12 countries members of the initiative, but of the whole of the European Union, and beyond that, the Atlantic space, because we very much value the partnership of the United States, and of course of Germany, who also has become a partner of the initiative. We are very happy that we have also the support of the Commission, of the European Commission, because the projects that we are submitting are aimed at exactly that, at making the European space not only coherent, but more resilient and more competitive as a whole. So the main goals of the initiative are the convergence of all of our economies with the rest of the European Union. As I said, cohesion of our space with the rest of Europe, competitiveness of our industries, and connectivity. As after the fall of the Berlin Wall, we started building east to west connections, but we somehow neglected north to south connections, which are becoming ever more important in this new world of new challenges, especially security challenges that are coming from all sides, and that we are trying to address through the main pillars. One is building energy connectivity, the second is building transportation connectivity, and the third is digitalization. And I'm very happy that Slovenia, and it seems that every country that hosts the summit each year, adds a new dimension. So Slovenia has added the dimension of innovation, which is also crucial for development of our countries. I would like to give a special welcome to Mr. Miloš Zeman, dear friend, dear Miloš, for coming to the summit and the business forum for the first time. Welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy not just the meetings, but our company as well. So when it comes to Croatia, our goals are very clear. We want economic development. We want a better life for all. We want for our citizens to enjoy the same opportunities and the same standard of living as all of the other European citizens. And beyond that, we're also looking towards Southeast to assisting our neighbors on their European path, but also in building interconnections in that region as well when it comes to energy, transportation, and all of the other aspects that I've mentioned. Croatia finally in the first quarter of this year has growth of GDP, recorded growth of 3.9%. My goal is at least 5%, and I believe that all of these projects that we're discussing here and that will be financed by the European Union and all others will contribute to economic development and prominence of our countries. We've submitted 6 projects. I would say that the most important one for the whole region is the LNG terminal in Krk, which will be interconnected to the one in Świnoujście and the one in Klaipėda in Lithuania. And of course, there will be interconnectors going back into Hungary and towards Ukraine and towards also the rest of Southeast Europe. And in that way, as I said, making Central Europe the backbone of European resilience to challenges that we're all facing. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Croatia and our 11 fellow member states of the initiative are open for business. We are open for investment. We are open for development. I invite you to do business with us, with our companies, and invite all of our companies to do business with each other, to do business together, because B2B connections and people-to-people connections are also an immensely important part of this initiative. So I look forward to a fruitful discussion, and I wish all of us a very successful business forum and a very successful summit tomorrow. And Borut, again, thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear Kolinda. Thank you so much. Now the next speaker will be Rumen Radev, my friend from Republic of Bulgaria. Before giving you the floor, I would like to thank you. At the beginning, my dear friend has had other obligations to do today and tomorrow, but then he changed his mind and came to Ljubljana just for this, ladies and gentlemen, just for this panel, for a business forum. I would like to thank you, Rumen, for coming, and I would like to you to take the floor. Thank you so much.
It is always a challenge to try to speak in English after Kolinda, but I will try anyway. Dear Borut, I will start with highlighting the great efforts, energy and commitment the President of Slovenia and my friend Borut Pahor put for this event. And this is very important, and this is the reason I'm here to support him, to support our idea. Because the core of this idea is common efforts. Without common efforts, there is no success. Because this is a very young initiative. It was initiated in 2015 by the father and mother. And it is moving very fast. It is moving very fast at high political level. But we are advancing, and we involve not only the head of states, but the governments. We have many ministers here. We have agencies. We have the business. And very important, we have our strategic partners. Mr. Péter is here. This initiative enjoys greater and bigger attention from Brussels as well, from Germany. So I hope, and I'm sure we are on the right track, because our intention, our goal is noble. It is clear, it is simple. To improve the conditions for economic and social development of all our countries. Each of us is doing this by working in our country, but our efforts could be much more productive when we act together, when we stay committed behind this idea. I will give you a brief example with my country. For many decades, Bulgaria has been a gas transition country. We have small consumption, about 3 billion cubic meters, and all rest is transiting gas coming from Russia down to Turkey and Greece. And our ambition is to change that situation, to transform our capacity from pure transit into gas distribution center. Along with the EU energy requirement and EU single energy market, to work for diversification and for providing security of energy supply. We have been improving and modernizing and enlarging the capacity of our national gas transitioning network. We have been working on building interconnectors with all our neighbors. We have done and we have finished our interconnector with Romania. We have just started the gas interconnector with Greece. We will start the gas interconnector with Serbia. And what is the result? We have also working on, and we have finished our work for reverse capacity of those pipes we have. As a result, a week ago, we have contracted for the first time LNG from the United States, from the LNG terminal in Greece. The quantity is small, but the price is better than the pipeline gas we have so far, which means there is a huge potential in front of us. Once we have this necessary infrastructure laid down, once we have all the arrangements about those distribution centers, I'm sure we will have much better security, we will have diversification, we will have almost unlimited choices to go forward in much, much better requirement. But once again, thank you, Borut, for bringing us together. This is a very important event and your message is very solid. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Rumen. So before giving the floor to the Kersti, the Madam President from the Republic of Estonia, I would like to inform you that at the end of these opening remarks, I'll take some questions. So if anybody would like to take to ask the question, everybody here or somebody, just raise the hand. So Kersti, it is time for your brief opening statement. Then Miloš, you are next. Okay, please.
Hello, Slovenia. Hello, Ljubljana. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you, President Pahor, also for hosting us. And sorry about the traffic jams we are probably causing out there. I'm extremely happy to be here this year with all of us, and a few things which you said already, Andrzej and Kolinda and Borut, I would really like to repeat. One is the endorsement of the European Commission, who has realized that in this region, sharing a lot of history and sharing also the more or less the GDP per capita, we need to work together to make sure that we can prosper and we can catch up with the rest of the Europe. I'm also extremely happy that this discussion here, in addition to transport, energy, and also digital technologies, brings in innovation, as you mentioned, President Pahor, because there is something which we must realize, that in 21st century, our children are growing up with the fear that we might ruin our planet. And innovation, in combination with transport and energy, has to make our energy first cleaner, safer, and then totally renewable. The cost of the CO2 quotas is higher than it has been for many years right now. This is also a clear signal that we must bring in innovation to make sure that our transport sector, our energy sector are not only competitive but also clean, and that our children who are gathering on Fridays outside of our parliament buildings can look forward to a future where they do not have to do the cleanup after us. And I think we can bring more environmental issues like being free of plastic and also world cleanup initiatives into this framework to make sure that we, as responsible leaders in Europe, actually do not ruin the planet while we are sitting through our mandates. It's extremely important that we don't forget that. Digital. Of course, being the president of Estonia, for me it's my dream that the digital highway will stretch from Baltic Sea to Adriatic and Black Seas, and we are ready to put in considerable effort and expertise to make sure that this will indeed happen. We will not spare any time and energy working together with the political leaders of the countries participating in this initiative and also facilitating the private sectors in our countries to work on these issues. And finally, I would really like to greet all people from private sector, from business here in this forum, because, you know, we politicians, we can start communication, we can forge partnership, and we can forward the thinking and encourage. But nothing we create is durable unless you take over. Then it is durable and sustainable if you, the private sectors of the countries of Three Seas Initiative, work together. So thank you very much for being with us here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kersti. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it has been already said, and let me repeat. For the very first time, the President of Czech Republic is with us, Miloš. It is extreme privilege to me to welcome you here among us, and I would like to invite you to take the floor. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Borut. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, at first let me quote Winston Churchill, who said, "I reached such a high age because I always preferred sitting instead of standing, and if possible, laying instead of sitting." So there is no bet, unfortunately, here. So I am satisfied with my church. Andrzej, Kolinda, you are very young, but after 20 or 30 years, I am sure you will remind Winston Churchill, like me in my 75 years age. This is my first remark. The second one. In my age, I visited many conferences, and sometimes Shakespeare was right. If in Hamlet there is a nice sentence, "What do you read, my prince?" The words, words, and words. And sometimes, what do you speak? Not my prince. The princes do not exist. Phrases, phrases, and phrases. And that's why I am here not to speak in phrases, but to speak about one fresh project which is old approximately for maybe 5 centuries. Borut, you know that, and my friend Andrzej Duda supports it. Well, in 14th century, the Emperor Charles IV proposed connection of the three rivers, Donau, Oder, and Elbe. And this responds completely to the title of our meeting, Three Seas. Three seas connected by three rivers. Well, there were some wars in Middle Ages, and this project occurred again in the 1901 by the second emperor, Franz Joseph. But there was World War, and again the project has not been realized. The third attempt came from famous showmaker and the best entrepreneur. This is Business Forum, isn't it? So best entrepreneur of Czechoslovakia, Thomas Baťa. And there was new World War. And now I am here as the fourth person and in very good company, two emperors and one showmaker and one president. And I do not expect no World War, thanks God. So, what is the present state of the art? Let me inform you that recently the feasibility study of this project has been approved. It is very important. And thanks God, it was included into a national investment plan in Czech Republic, which is planned for 12 years. Well, it is very good because you know our politicians. We prefer only those projects who are inside our election period. Yes, sometimes it is 4 years only. And here we have a chance for 12 years, thanks God. So, because feasibility study has been finished and we have this in investment plan, I am here for the first time. Recently I sent the chairs of Czech Parliament, you know, Borut, because I have nothing to say. Because if the project is not finished as a project, so what do you read, my prince? What do you speak, my president? And that's why I am here in order to inform you about the wonderful project, connected 3 rivers and 3 seas. And it is necessary not only for water transport. In the present situation, it is important also for water supply. And that's why I firmly hope that if this meeting will help a little for international support for this project, so the title of 3 Seas meeting will be completely fulfilled. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Miloš. You are not definitely an old man, just a very wise one. We have two ministers. Péter, may I invite you to take the floor? And then, Secretary, you will, the last one, to have the opening statement.
Your Excellencies, thank you very much for the invitation. On behalf of the President of Hungary, we appreciate this possibility, Mr. President, that you have convened this summit, especially under times when the changes regarding global politics and the global economy are so comprehensive and turbulent that it's not an exaggeration to speak about a new world order anymore. And under these new circumstances, there are definitely totally new factors of competitiveness. And now the question is which countries will belong to the winners and which countries will belong to the losers of this new world order. And I really do believe that the answer to this question depends on who is able to carry out decisions and policies based on common sense when it comes to economy and security, and who are able to make quick decisions. And in this regard, the recent years have proved that Central Europe is and will be the growth engine of the European continent. Although there's no free lunch, so it didn't come out of scratch. We have lower taxes here in Central Europe compared to the Western European friends of ours. The budgetary and fiscal discipline is, let's say, stricter here than in other parts of the continent. And we have made our decisions to guarantee security to our own citizens. So I think that we Central Europeans have proved that the less hypocrisy, the less political correctness, and the less double standards there are, the better achievement we can perform. Last year, 2018, the average GDP growth in Central Europe, in the countries of ours, was double compared to the European Union's average. And during this year's first quarter, the 4 out of the top 5 growth rates have belonged to Central European countries. We Hungarians are proud to be on top of the list with a 5.3% growth rate. But if we consider that there are almost 50 million people in the countries of ours having job, this means that every 5th European who has a job works in our countries. But I definitely agree with President Duda, not just because he's Polish and I'm Hungarian, but because of the substance as well. When you, Mr. President, you speak about connectivity when it comes to transportation, I would add energy to that as well. So we definitely do have weaknesses and we definitely do have some disadvantages on which we have to work in order to maintain our position as a growth engine of our continent. Based on history, unfortunately, north to south infrastructure is much rarer than it should be. If you compare ourselves with the western part of Europe, you see that there you find an opportunity to cross the border legally with an average distance of 2.5 to 3 kilometers. In our region, the average distance between border crossing points is higher than 40 kilometers. So, and this is something that we have to work on. Border crossing infrastructure when it comes to railroads and roads is absolutely in the focus of ours. Just like energy, where diversification is the magic word, but until it remains a word, it's a little bit challenging, especially for Hungary, which is in a unique situation, in a landlocked situation in the heart of this cooperation. We are a country which still does not have any kind of access to LNG because of lack of infrastructure, and we are a country which hardly has any access to non-Russian gas because of lack of infrastructure. So it depends on all of us, on countries participating in this cooperation, whether we will be able to change this situation of ours. If we cannot change that infrastructural situation, then my country will be in a position again to engage in a long-term cooperation with Russia when it comes to gas supply. So we have very nice plans on the tables. We have very nice promises, which definitely sound very nice, about offshore gas fields to be explored in the region, about LNG ports to be built in the region, but heating flats and operating an economy cannot be based on only promises and plans, but on actions. So we attach a great significance to this cooperation, and we are definitely thankful to the founding fathers and to the founding mothers of this organization, because we really do expect that with this cooperation we will be able to transform words when it comes to energy diversification into actions. I can report to you, Madam and Mr. Presidents, that we have made our homeworks. We have the infrastructure to the border on our side, and really expect this cooperation to make these plans come into reality. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you. Mr. Minister, thank you. Before giving you the floor, just one remark. From the very beginning, our American friends have been with us and with this initiative. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you, Mr. Secretary, for coming to Ljubljana and take part in this conference, also in this panel, and I would like
Mr. President, thank you very much, Peter, and to the other presidents, thank you all for your patience today. And I love sitting on the stage with you as I think about my time as the governor of Texas and the competition that we had between the states, and to go, Peter, you reminded me of in your remarks about we're the best place to live, and how to create the most dynamic economy, and to lure businesses and men and women to come to your state. So, and it does, being an economic development governor, it does my heart good to sit on the stage with each of you that I know has that same competitive spirit of getting things done. So, and it also makes me be rather understand how limited I am, and particularly being a Texan and using my English language in such a poorly proficient way to be on the stage with those of you who are so multilingual. And so anyway, I'm blessed to get to be here to challenge you on this stage, to challenge everyone in this hall, that the President of the United States, the American people, want to say to you that we support this union, this European Union, and the efforts to create this energy union, this to better integrate Europe into these energy markets, to improve the energy security that you have. I think we all share that vision, and the time for talk's over. The time for us to be taking true action, to be sending the message all across this part of the world, literally around the globe, that we are going to be working closely together, that the 3Cs Initiative member nations, they're ready, they're willing, and we're going to meet our objectives. And the addition of American energy supplies into the world has really changed the dynamic. I mean, those of you who recognize 15 years ago the United States was dependent upon other countries for our supply of energy. Today, to be the #1 oil and gas producing country in the world, to be able to stand here before you and to commit to using our energy bounty to benefit our friends and our allies. And we will never use energy as a tool for political coercion. And it's for these reasons that we continue to oppose the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, because it is contrary to the EU's objectives. It's a project that we believe will weaken Europe's energy security and the sovereignty of its nations, especially that of Ukraine. And I'm grateful by the progress that we're already making together. But again, as I said, now's the time for action. Now's the time for us to truly come together, to put a clear, concise group of men and women together that will make decisions, put those decisions into action. We've had productive discussions in the past. Our next steps are clear. As we work together, establish working groups, to make those working groups truly have a work product that sends the clear message. I'm optimistic about how the United States can continue supporting you in reaching your energy goals. I think we now export LNG into 35 countries, 5 continents. I think the daily production of American LNG is 57.5 billion cubic meters a day. That's expected to be somewhere close to 112 billion by the year 2020, in a short 8 months. That's the bounty that is there. Let's use it to our benefit as we commemorate tomorrow the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the European continent. I can think of few greater ways to honor the United States' commitment to defend and support freedom in Europe than continuing to work together for the betterment, the prosperity of our nations and our people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are running out of time, but if there is a couple of questions, we can take them on board. Is there? Yes, sir, over there. Could somebody? Yes, right. Please. Oh.
My name is Ian Brzezinski from the Atlantic Council, Washington. Congratulations on driving this important strategic initiative forward. I'd be grateful if the presidents could share with us how they intend to leverage private sector capital to make the 3 Cs initiative a reality. And what can the United States and Germany do to help the 3 Cs initiative tap into private sector capital?
Kolinda will answer this question. Before that, I would just inform you that for the very first time today for the dinner, the German president will join us. I think it's a very good signal. I don't know how this collaboration between 3 Cs initiative and Germany will continue, but it's good to have our German friend on board. Kolinda.
Yes, certainly, very shortly. Well, thank you very much for your support as well. To put the whole story short, the investment fund that was initially created last year in Bucharest by the signing of non-binding letters, this year is becoming reality with 2 countries who have already committed funding. But we also expect and hope that the European banks for development and also for investment, as well as private companies, private capital will contribute to that investment fund from which these projects will be carried out and financed. And of course, the priority will be with the projects. The more of a regional nature, the more countries connected, the better. So this is a short answer, but I'm sure that in your discussions tomorrow, there will be a lot more from our representatives from the business sector and from the relevant ministries who will explain the details.
Somebody else? No? Okay. Let's go with the next. Sorry. Yes? Kersti? Yes. You have the microphone. Okay. Kersti. Sorry, ma'am.
I'm quite sure that private capital is interested in disseminating various ideas which have sprung up also in different countries. We all have our competitive advantages which we have nurtured in the European Union and where we are sometimes excelling. And I'm quite sure that to upscale what we have discovered in different countries on how to get it right, like in Poland and in Slovenia and other countries, this in itself is something which will definitely create also private sector interest. Let's not underestimate the capacity of innovation in our really startup nations, because these countries have had to be innovative in order to catch up, and they have been innovative. So find the projects to upscale in the bigger countries like Germany and the United States. I challenge you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Kolinda?
Just one more sentence. During the Warsaw meeting, we have distributed a list of 145 projects worth about almost 50 billion euros. So in addition to the flagship projects that we have selected, in the meantime, there's still that original list that private capital can be interested in, and then we can put online or distribute again. Thank you.
Okay. Ma'am, over there. Yes. You have the floor, please. Sorry.
Good morning. Angelika Jarosławska, Sapieha. I'm coming from Poland. I'm Poland 3.0 program coordinator. I have a question. Strong and stable Ukraine and strong intermarium means safety of this part of the world. Isn't it the highest time to invite Ukraine to those conversations, to invite Ukraine to the cooperation with the Free Seas Initiative?
As the host of this summit, I would be frank with you, by saying that we did consider this option to invite the new Ukrainian president to come, but we then decided that maybe it's time to invite him next year. So I don't know if Kersti will give us some explanation on that subject.
Actually, I think that, as already stressed here, we have an informal forum of Free Seas Initiative, and it's really something where Ukraine and Georgia and other Eastern partners are concerned, where I would stick to the formal framework of Eastern Partnership and really look how we can make Eastern Partnership function and stronger. And the reason why I believe Eastern Partnership is because it's the whole EU initiative, and I don't want to take the responsibility of developing and helping our Eastern partners and helping to solve their problems that much only into this region or on the shoulders of people in this region. On the other hand, I know that all countries here are actively supporting reform in Ukraine and other Eastern Partnership countries. We are the strong proponent of not excluding these countries from the discussion on the EU enlargement, and we will continue to provide our support to Ukraine and Georgia in various formats and bilateral meetings with all the world leaders. So we strongly stand up for our Eastern partners, but definitely I prefer formal frameworks for that.
Mr. Perry.
Let me just add to this that in the audience here is the United States Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland. And Ambassador Sondland had President Zelensky in Brussels yesterday. Matter of fact, I think it was his first trip out of the country since he was inaugurated. So the idea that he would be here might be a little premature from the standpoint of his travel schedule. But here's what I will tell you, that not only is the United States, but the men and women on this stage are engaged with Ukraine in various and sundry ways to help that country to be stabilized economically and otherwise, because I'm not sure there is a more important message to send, not just in this region and through Europe, but around the world, that as a member of this region and the invasion that occurred there, and for us not to support Ukraine in every reasonable, feasible way that we can is a irresponsible act. And that the United States, the members of the 3 Cs are going to be participating in a host of different ways to make sure that European countries, whether they belong to 3 Cs or otherwise, know that we are going to stand together and not allow for anyone to coerce another country, particularly using energy as a weapon. It will not stand.
Okay, somebody else? Maybe the very last question. Yes, the lady over there. Madam Ambassador? Okay. Oh, this is the privilege. The Ambassador of the United Kingdom, please.
Thank you very much. I'm Sophie Honey. I'm British Ambassador here in Slovenia. Thank you so much to all of you for coming and setting out for all of us the story of the evolution and also the goals of the 3 Cs initiative. It was a pleasure hearing from President Zeman about an excellent quote from Churchill, and given that tomorrow is the 6th of June, it seems like an apt moment to throw in another one. So another thing that Churchill said was that continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking potential. Now that seems to me quite an apt quotation for 3 Cs, the continuous effort and the evolution that we've seen from year to year. Before that gets misread, let me quickly add that the strength and intelligence on the panel and amongst the 3 Cs members is also key, I think. I wanted to say that this year we have 4 British companies here as part of the Business Forum. The UK has a great deal of strengths in infrastructure and energy, and so my question for the panel really is, how do you think that countries such as ours, so a European country, I hasten to add, can continue to support the goals of the 3 Cs initiative, either through business sector links or in other ways? Thank you.
It's working? Okay. My answer is very simple. We have a very good news that we have a common will for working together, and the bad news is we don't have money. So there are tens and tens of projects. All of them are important, but there is zero money. I mean common money to be utilized for the most important projects. And the main criteria should be connectivity, encompassing all of the countries. The good news here is that each country working for its modernization is helping other countries. Again, I will go back to the example of my country. Bulgaria has been modernizing its gas transmission network using our money. Of course, with the support with you, but this is our money from our national budget. But modernizing this infrastructure, we help all other countries from the initiative, from Central and East Europe, to enjoy options of gas coming from LNGs, from pipelines, from all the directions. So this is the mutual benefit. But of course, we should think with your support how to produce really working projects, because again, this is not just for the countries being here, it is for Europe. If we can provide better conditions for social and economic coherence, it will reflect UK, of course, because you will have less problems as well. Thank you.
I I have a specific proposal also. I would propose to all of my colleagues from all of the member countries of the initiative that after the summit, we invite the diplomatic corps for a debriefing on the summit, but also to present the projects in detail that have been submitted not only within the initiative, but as I said, in the context of the wider list of 145 infrastructure projects, but other projects that are also there that you might be interested in investing into. Thank you.
Miloš, did you want to? Somebody else? If not,
I agree with all. Under one condition, you will support the project of Donau, Oder and Elbe.
we are not negotiating right now.
And in my delegation, the information materials are at your disposals. If not, I disagree.
So, let me finish by thanking everyone here on stage and you, ladies and gentlemen, to take part in this panel. I think it has been a privilege for all of us to be here with you, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
I thank all heads of delegation for your valuable contributions. I believe the visibility and the focus you bring to the TRI initiative is of utmost importance for the regional cooperation and involvement of private sector. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let us bid a farewell to the President and two ministers. Thank you very much.